you have reached the Black Label Podcast with Stacey Kimber, and I have with me today the Hamptons. Hey. First, I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is my absolute pleasure to have you. Can you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves individually first?
I'll let you go first.
I don't know what you want me to know. I'm Ray Hampton, father of three, accountant, football coach, ex-football player. That's it. That's me.
That's what's up.
And baby daddy.
And baby daddy. I said father.
Yeah, he baby daddy. I'm Shauna Hampton. I am mother of three, his three, filmmaker, photographer, manager of a dermatology office. I do a little bit of everything.
That's good. And so how old are your children?
23, 21, and 17, almost 18.
Okay, so you have big children.
Yes.
And have you all always had a great co-parenting relationship throughout their entire life?
No. No. I'm going to be honest, no.
As you should. So let me go back then with the no. How did you guys meet?
He stopped me at church.
Oh, did I get a blush from both of
you? No, let me tell you. See, she don't like when I tell this story.
Go ahead, tell the story.
I was 17 years old at church. I was dating another girl at the church.
Yeah.
And, it was talking about relationship, high school sweetheart or whatever. She used to come and hug me every time she saw me. Not one of those church hugs. She gave me a real hug. So fast forward, one day, we was both in the choir, and we had a concert that we had to do that evening. And we was going out to dinner before we came back to church. I liked her. She ended up going to Quincy's with me. We was going to Quincy, you know how long ago
that's me.
Yes, Lord. So wait a minute, the Quincy, the fire's there?
Yes.
Yep. We went to Quincy together. We went to Quincy together, we talked or whatever, and we enjoyed ourselves or whatever. And I had, she had paid for me.
He had no money.
She was working at Walmart at that time. She had paid for me. And I was driving. And I said, well, I'm going to pay you back. So after we left, before we went to church, I said, I need to go home and check on my mama, see if my mama out there. She was basically trying to let me know where she stayed at. That's what it was. I took her by her mom's house. She went in, checked on her mom.
So wait a minute. He basically said you was setting him up the entire time.
I did. I ain't gonna lie.
Look, keep going, Ray. Keep going. But I'm just saying, he's making sure that we know throughout this story.
But it's
you,
the truth.
You orchestrated this.
She took me. I seen where she lived at. Then, later on that week, I asked her, I had to repair. I said, look, let me repay you for dinner for Sunday. And we went out. We went to Old Charlie's. And she was like, I ain't even home. So we did not eat anything. We ended up going to the movies. Guess what movie we went to see? I Got the Hookup. It was 4 people in the movie. Me, her, and 2 more.
Trash movie, but
and that's life.
That's how we met.
I was like, man, I'm 17. I had just turned 18. I'm 18.
I was 20.
I was like, I got me an older woman. You can't tell me nothing. You better go get something to drink.
And so how long now, Shauna, is that how you remember the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you all court then before you became parents together?
It wasn't no court. Like, I don't think it was. We were just doing some stuff and then end up getting pregnant with Michaela.
Gotcha. But how long had you guys known each other then? I would say
we met in what, 97, 98?
It was 97. I graduated in 98. So it was like the summer of 97. She came into the church because we met at church. She came into the church and
Michaela was born in 2000.
Yeah,
okay. So y'all had a whole 3-year situationship then?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. So after having your daughter, do you guys then decide, okay, we're going to try to be in a relationship, or were you just remaining cool with and just you're going to have your daughter together?
Well,
what was the dynamic?
Well, my answer to that question is my dad wasn't in my life. So I always said if I had a child, I was going to be there from the jump. So when she got pregnant, I was like, well, maybe we need to try to make this work. Now, I'm gonna say that in the same voice. I was still dabbling with the other girl I was messing with.
Yeah.
With the same
You know?
chick that,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I was still dabbling with her, but
What dabble
I
mean for the viewers?
He was still with her and
Okay.
trying to do it too.
Okay.
So, it was whatever, but she went all the way clean on that. We'll get to that later. But so we decided, that we was gonna try and make this work, you know what I'm saying? So we tried, and like I said, it was rocky at first, but we was persistent because her dad was not really there for her at that young age, and I didn't. What we was not gonna do was have a repeat on that.
Right.
And
So,
just to not go too much into you all's childhood, because that's not the topic of the show, would you say you guys had a good childhood to begin with?
Absolutely.
oh yeah, I had a great
Absolutely.
childhood. Yeah.
Okay.
I
So,
wasn't lacking father figures because I had my uncles. I had like 6 uncles. So they always stepped in when I needed a male in my life. So like even though I didn't grow up with my dad, I did have father figures. So
right.
Me in that case, I had father figures too. I just had some men that grew up on my street that actually helped raise me, gave me my first football helmet, put the baseball in my hand, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So those are the guys that I was able to see, and I had to visualize what it was like, So yeah, I was cool with that.
yeah.
Okay. And so after having your daughter, you guys you decided that you're gonna try to make this work for your daughter's sake, so there will be a 2-parent household. Did you guys then decide to get married, or you were just going to be in a relationship?
Well, it's some time passed in between that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I decided I was gonna go back to the other girl.
He did.
And at what point in your parenthood was this?
This is when Kayla was, I think Kayla was like a newborn. I was like, I'm gonna be there, but I'm gonna go back to the other girl, and I realized that ain't really what I wanted. So I came back where I should have been. And that's how that was. So it was
How
a
long
little
was that? So how long were you with the newborn by yourself?
hold on. She was never by herself.
She was a single mother.
Okay.
Well, how do you do that? I never know what's the right thing to say in that regard. Single mother. She was a single lady with a daughter with you. How long were you a single woman with an infant when Ray was not in the home? Because Ray, that's a hard time when you got a new baby and then the male leaving and the baby's still small.
Okay.
And keep in mind too, y'all are kids. Because 20
and then he was never in the home. He was always in his grandmother's house, and then I was with my mom. So it wasn't like we were living together and then he went back. No, he was still active in her life, but he was never like in the home per se.
Okay. And see, in my mind, I interpreted when you guys said we're going to try to make it work, I assumed that you meant we're going to get going home together.
I was 20 years old when
he
Kayla
was 20. I was 24 when she was born, so I was a little bit older than him.
And plus, I was in Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in school, so coming back and forth home, and stuff like that. So that's what that was. So it wasn't like we didn't officially get together, like move in together until after it was like 2002. So we had another child by then.
Yeah. It was up and down. It was a roller coaster. I'm just gonna be real. It was a roller coaster. It was hard being in that space at that time, but we made a commitment to each other as far as our children that we were always gonna be there, regardless of what we had going on personally.
Okay.
But I loved him. Like I was in love with him, so I wanted it to work because I felt like I didn't grow up with my dad. I didn't want my kids to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's how that went.
So baby number 2 has come, and that is when you Ray decide, okay, I'm gonna come on and be in the home. At what point did you all get married? Were all 3 children born or just the first 2?
No, just the first 2.
First 2.
It was 2004 when we got married.
What made you all decide to get married?
Well, we got married. First of all, I had to say this. A lot of times, people get married because of they have kids or whatever. So when we had Michaela, even my grandma said to me, she said, "You don't have to be married to her to be a father. And at that point, I was on the fence or whatever. So, but when Junior came, my grandma said, "Oh hell no, you ain't finna be getting this woman pregnant, and you ain't doing that about it." You know what I'm saying? So that's what ended up happening with that. So my grandma was in my head on that, but I did not marry her because we had children. We didn't have to get married. We were still gonna do what we would do. I
Right.
married her because I was in love with her. That's the reason why I married her. And she was damn near out the door because I was dragging my feet, and you know what I'm saying, trying to do whatever. She was damn near out the door. And then one day I went. I said I got to do it, and I went and got a ring. It wasn't much, but I gave her what I had. I proposed to her. I still don't think she ever told me yes.
I didn't, but I had the wedding planned in like 2 weeks.
You know,
The whole
Wait
wedding.
a minute.
in 2
That don't
weeks.
even make sense. Like how that worked out. You asked her
Oh,
to
girl,
marry
I
you.
was just
What
like,
happened?
I never answered it, but
I asked her, you know,
we ended up getting married.
and we ended up getting married.
Why you
2000.
didn't give him an answer?
I think I was
she
shocked.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, what? Because I never thought it was coming. Like I didn't know it was coming. So I was shocked.
We was actually laid up on. I remember like it was yesterday. We was laid up on the couch, and we was just laying there. And I was like, man, you should be my wife. She's like, stop playing with me. And I'm for real. And she turned around, and I had the box like that, and her mouth was open.
I was like,
And if you ever see her cry, the ugly cry, that's what happened. But
I
she never
think
did.
I've seen an ugly cry maybe once.
But she never did answer me. But I knew where I should have been at. So
Mhm.
that's what it was.
Okay, and so what were you all family supportive of the marriage as all together, not at the beginning, but through the full marriage? Did you all have your family support? Like, what I mean by that is, did you get along with your in-laws?
Yeah.
I did.
And so,
Kind of, sort of. That's another story for another show.
okay.
But yeah, we made it work.
And so when you guys, how long were you married altogether?
9 years.
Married 9 years.
Married 9 years.
Together 15.
Okay. And what was your decision to end this marriage?
Honestly, this is my perspective. We did not have a healthy vision of marriage going in. Because my mom was married, you know, his mom and grandma were married. We never saw a healthy marriage. So
Right.
we didn't know, you know what I'm saying? We didn't know what that looked like. So it was honestly, it was a lot of resentment towards each other, you know? And I think it just built up over time, and it was just like, I just felt like it wasn't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Even though we had kids, I still felt like we weren't happy. We got to a place where we were not happy with each other.
We were existing.
Yeah.
We were existing together in the household,
Yeah.
mainly for the kids.
Yeah. That's what it turned into.
Was it a discussion with the children when you made the decision, or did you all just make that decision as adults?
We talked to them. Yeah, we talked to them.
Well, I think we made a decision, then we told them.
Yeah.
You know, but we did tell them before
we did anything else.
But Micah was about to be 18. I think he was 6, 7 at that time. And because we got divorced, we separated for a year and then got divorced. So yeah, I think he was like 6 or 7 at that time. And so he didn't really understand. Ramon was, 10. He understood, but he didn't understand. Kayla understood a little bit more what was going on. But even though she's only, technically 18 months older than Junior, but she understood a little bit more. So it was kind of hard. Like, it was just,
How did the children take it?
It was sad, it was bad, it was horrible. That's all I got. I don't even, like, when I think about it, it just brings back a memory that just, I don't know. I don't want to ugly cry on your show, girl, but it was bad.
I understand. So you get divorced. What is life like for the next couple of years after that? As far as, was parenting always okay? Have you all always been able to separate the two?
Nope.
so
tell us about that.
So honestly, I think we stayed together a year longer than we should have.
Yeah.
So it's like we both knew that it was not where it should have been. But we stayed together, and we end up, like I said, building up. It was never a hate, but it was
Right.
more of a resentment.
Right.
So that whole time, that next year that we stayed together, so when we finally did decide that we was going to separate, because again, we separated for a year before we got divorced. It was hard because we had been together for so long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
all of our friends was our friends.
Right.
Like you can look at our Facebook page. We pull it up right now.
We got like 5 different mutual
Our
friends.
mutual friends.
Right.
And they honestly are friends.
Right.
Like,
Like majority of our adult life, we were together. So
Yeah.
every friend that we met was our mutual friend. So it was kind of hard because that was it, and we were running the business together. So
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Face to Target-
I'm like,
Okay, y'all.
Face to Target was ours.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Now I
So-
do remember you saying he bought you your first camera, right?
Yeah, he
Okay,
did.
I remember that. Mhm.
So it started off. I got to say this. This is my super dad moment. Started off. I was a supportive husband. I wasn't the best husband, but like I said, I didn't have an example. But it's some stuff I know I could have did better.
Yeah.
But
Likewise.
she said she wanted to bake cakes. That was her first business. She wanted to bake
I
cakes.
see a can, girl.
Girl, you know I know it. You know I know it.
I went and bought her a KitchenAid mixer. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, you want to bake cake? I'm there.
I burnt it up.
She put that
I
down.
burnt it up. I burnt it up.
We ended up getting another one. She put that down. Then she
Oh, you
said
burned the KitchenAid, the mixer up, not the cake.
No,
Girl,
yeah.
shut your mouth. I thought you meant the cake.
No,
I burnt the KitchenAid up.
She would make it. But
Literally.
so then, she decided, she said, well, I want to do photography. So anything that even today, and she
Yeah.
can tell you this, anything
True.
that she's in with or she's 100% about, I'm behind.
Yeah.
So I went and got her first camera. It was a Canon. I think I may have bought her first two, but it was a Canon. She needed some other stuff, and she took off with it. She did it for a minute, and that's what her passion is.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up buying me a camera. So we end up doing we was running the business together. So we had gigs where we were together like every weekend, 2 and 3 days every weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Girl say something to me, look over, mouth bent up. Man say something to her, look over, mouth bent up. We not together,
Right.
but
Right.
we together. You see what I'm saying? Like,
But I think
we ain't with that.
So
in
when you
that,
say y'all not together, y'all were still doing this after you separated?
Yeah.
Okay.
but in that process, I think we kind of learned each other in the adult space because we knew each other as teenagers, as young adults. But having a business with him, I got to learn him in a new light. You know what I mean?
I do.
So that kind of spilled over into co-parenting.
So with the business, how we end up kind of getting a little bit better
Yeah.
is that we ended our partnership. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? This not gonna work.
Right.
Us being together every weekend,
It ain't
it's not gonna work.
not for healing purpose.
Right.
It-
So I was
it
like,
was
well,
not
you can just buy me out. She bought me out the business, and face been hers ever since then.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Even after that, I think we did a couple more things together. She needed some help, but then she started getting people to work for her. Now she don't call me no more. But that's neither here nor there. But that's how that ended up working. But after that point, we was able to kind of heal a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We was able to kind of heal as far as moving on with our separate lives. Because we really never had a problem with the kids.
Right.
It was more of us that had the problem.
And so how long did it take for you guys to like really get to a point to where you can tolerate each other on a level to where you actually like one another again?
Probably about another year.
Yeah.
Probably say about a year.
And do you think just separating yourself from business, because you were always still very active with the children?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
how
we
is
did.
that like? So did you guys just, okay, get ready, your daddy finna come and he come pick him up? Like how was the exchange?
I mean, I used to meet him at his grandma's house. He used to come to my house. It was never like, we never need like a mediator to do the child exchange.
Mhm.
Because we were like, he said we hate each other. I ain't gonna say I hated him, but I really strongly disliked him at certain point and didn't want to see him. But I had to put that aside for the kids. You know what I'm saying? But I got over it. I eventually got over it.
So we made it, and actually the rule is still in effect as of today. Even though the kids grown, they make their own decision. But we share holidays.
Yeah.
Like technically, after all these years, Thanksgiving this year is her holiday.
Right.
So the kids supposed to be with her, but they grown. So you know what I'm saying? Like
they
gonna do what they want.
They both.
You
They
saying?
come
Right.
But,
so Christmas would be mine. So we kind of made that where they would wake up with me. We did that until they were able to make their own decisions, and they still wanted to do what they wanted to do.
And y'all stuck with that even when you all, hey,
Yeah, as of today.
Very mature. That is very mature.
As of today.
And even if he said, I need them, I know this is your holiday, but can they stay with me? And I'd be like, I don't have a problem with it. I never had a problem with if he wanted them extra time or if I needed them to go out of town. We never had an issue.
And we would anytime.
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
No, anytime either like, she was like, well, I need to go out of town for this, or I'd be like, well, I got a coaching thing, or I'm going out of town for this. So can you do 2 weekends and then I do 2 weekends? You know what I'm saying? Like, so we always were able to, as long as we communicated, we did that, and we said it wasn't no this Friday, I need you to keep them tomorrow. No, it was always, you know what I'm saying, you gave them in advance, look, I'm in 2 weeks.
So you all had mutual respect for each other. Right. Well, that's good. So did you all have to create boundaries as it relates to dating or like?
Yes, with that is, as far as dating, look, my ex is beautiful, and I know that people like her. We still Facebook friends, so I see stuff all the time. You know what I'm saying? Any people I went to school with, dudes I know, but that is neither here nor there.
Oh my God,
but,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy. Like they say stuff, and you know what I'm saying? I can't have no problem with it. But we've always had this mutual thing. Like it's unsaid.
Yeah.
I don't bring nobody around her. She don't bring nobody around me.
Yeah.
And it's not that we always say this together. If we with somebody and they can't understand the relationship that we have, that means that they're not for us.
Right.
And what I'm asking you this for is because I want the viewers to see how you all did it and made it work. A lot of people have issue when it comes to dating. They have children and introducing their children to the other person. You know what I mean? Was that ever a discussion between you all how you would handle that with the children?
The first year we did, it was like, I don't, you know what I'm saying, mental, like, I don't, you know what I'm saying, if you decide you're going to be with somebody serious like that, I need to know who it is.
Yeah.
That's how it was the first year. After that, it is what it is. So the best thing about us is we trust each other.
Right.
I trust her not to have my kids around anybody. And you know what I'm saying, that's gonna harm them or do anything to them. And she trusts me in that same aspect. So it was never a, you know what I'm saying, really.
We never, honestly, we don't talk about our personal lives with each other. And I think, I don't know, I think it's been good for us in our position where we are today that we never like intersected our personal lives with our parenting commitment, if that makes any sense. It does. Like I don't talk about who I date, he don't talk about who he date, because it's honestly, it's not our business. It's not my business who he with, because I know, like, even if they were younger, like like he said, I trust him. I know he ain't gonna have nobody around my kids that's gonna harm them in any way, emotionally, mentally, physically. And I'm hoping that he feels the same way with me. But now that they grown, girl, I'm gonna do what I do what I want to do now.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, in the nutshell, once we got to the point where we didn't care what the other one had going on, life just became so much easier.
And we, like, when we were married, I have this friend, her name is Leanne. She has a mother, father, but her mother and father were married to other people. But they all came together and we used to always see them. And we want to be like them. Like if we ever get a divorce, we want to be like them because they are the example of a positive co-parenting relationship. And we talked about that when we got divorced. So I was like, well, let's do it like this. Like I see them and I'm like, this is dope. Like, how can y'all be married to other people and still like have family gatherings with everybody.
Right.
That's unheard of. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Even no matter what race you are, that's unheard of.
Right.
Even her mother and father raised her nephew together. Like all four of them raised her nephew, and I was like, okay. So we kind of like mirrored our relationship after them.
Okay.
And we've told them several times, like, we look at y'all as the example, and we want to be the example for the Black community, because you see all these people bickering about child support and custody, and she won't let me see my kid, or he won't. It's just we want to make it.
Yeah, we have conversations about that too, but it's like, and I think we are an example to a lot of people. And I'm gonna say this because it's kind of funny. We've been out in Hoover with 20 years.
Yeah.
And probably 70% of the people in Hoover probably still think we married.
Yeah, because he was like, one man was like, yeah, I talked to your husband the other day. In my head, I'm like, ex-husband. But okay, carry on.
But your wife
Does that make you feel awkward when people do you like that?
It used to at first it did. For me, it did. And then I was just like, whatever. They gonna think.
First of all, I knew who I was married to. That's the first thing. And I know she's a counselor, and I know she's crazy. Other than that, it is what it is. So just being honest. But we just, like, we can laugh and we can joke about it now. Right. Like I said, not like I said, 70% of people still think we married, and they still say that. But did I ever feel awkward about it? No. And the reason for that is because if you still think we married, that means you don't know us. Right. And if you don't know us, then it's not your business. Right. The people who know us know that we're just co-parents. We're gonna be at the football games together, basketball, whatever. We probably gonna ride to the game together. Yeah. We're gonna, we're gonna be together, whatever. That's what we're gonna be. And after all that happens, we go to our separate places. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing physical, ain't nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? We go to our separate places, and that's it. We are parents when we together, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And we friends too. Like at the end of the day, we are friends. Like and I had to learn this when I became grown after my divorce, because I was still a kid. You know what I'm saying? Kid mentality. I had to learn to communicate. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't read my mind, but in my child brain, I'm like, you should know. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you. But that ain't right. Like, I put way more expectation on him than I should have. And, across the board. So I had to learn how to communicate, if I was upset, I had to let him know I was upset. Because I can't just don't get it twisted. We still argue. Like, it's not like a knockdown drag out, but we do have disagreement. But I've learned to let him know if I don't agree with something, or if I don't like something he said, or if he did something. Like, I had to learn to do that, being a grown up. Like, I had to grow up. I was a kid, like, and all day. In our marriage, whatever, we did have a conversation. And she told me about some things that she didn't like, or some things that I was not doing. Yeah. And at that point, it was so far gone that it wasn't anything that I could do at that point. Mm-hmm. Had she told me, Ray, you're not doing such and such A, B, and C, because I loved her, I would have did A, B, and C. Now, if you tell me, if I say, Shauna, you're not doing A, B, and C, and I reiterate that you're not doing A, B, and C, and she don't care about doing A, B, and C, then that means she don't care about me. But if she did try to do A, B, and C, now we can work on that. We communicate on that. But if I don't tell her, she don't know. The same way. So when she told me about some things that I wasn't doing, as I reflect on it and look back on it, you're right. But at that time,
I was done. Late. I was gone. Like, I was gone. But we use, like, we communicate a lot. Like, that's the foundation of our relationship. We communicate about everything. It might be the littlest thing, but we gonna talk about it. Mm-hmm. And we gonna make a plan, and we gonna go for it. Like, in the beginning, when we got on good terms after our marriage was over, our kids were trying to play us.
Girl, that was my next question.
Yes.
Because you guys, and I want to commend you both as parents, and Shauna, I tell you all the time, y'all have some of the most respectful just good kids, and it matters in 2023.
Thank you.
They could be doing so many other things, and they, like you said, they grown now. They can be doing so many things. But anytime I am in contact with your children, so sweet, so respectful, so mannerable. They just good kids. But have they ever tried to play y'all against each other?
Yes, they still do.
All of them, or just any in particular?
The middle one mostly.
The middle.
Really?
Yeah.
Why am I
The
not?
one that's named after him.
Look, why am I not surprised?
But the thing is, see, they didn't know our conversation. We had a conversation every morning, pretty much.
Yeah.
To bring, like, we didn't talk all day, you know what I'm saying? We have a conversation. Junior said, or Kayla said, or Kayla need, or Micah need, such and such, such and such. So they didn't talk to her about it. They gonna go to her for things they know I'm gonna say no, and they gonna come to me for things they know she gonna say no.
Mhm.
So, but we already talked about it. We already came to a consensus. Oh, this is no. Or
We
this
ain't
is
doing this, so
Right.
I don't care what they say. I don't care what they ask.
Ask your mom. Ask
Yeah.
your mom. You know what I'm saying? Like that. It was stuff like that. So that's how we end up
But
getting
yeah.
them, and then they realize, look, we can't do it. So
We can't play our folks. They know. They know. They know.
Okay, so my next question is, have you all had any disagreements about finances that you had to overcome in like trying to co-parent with one another?
Well, no, not really. Not really as far as finances. Because I'm gonna do whatever I have to do. She's gonna do whatever she has to do to make it work, to make sure they have what they need. So we really had no disagreement about it. You know what I'm saying? Like at first, you know what I'm saying, it may have been, she may not felt that I was doing enough at the time, but when you sit back and think about it, okay. So it's just, you know what I'm saying, we just had to talk about it. And once we discussed it and realized and made sure the kids were straight, we had no problem.
And what I have to commend him on is when we got divorced, we agreed on a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
We compromised. And no matter what it is, if I go say, Ray, Micah need this outside of the child support, he's gonna do it. Like, and I have to commend him on that because he don't have to. Like, he can just stick by what's in the court documents and just be like, you figure it out. But he's never been like that. Like, he's never been like that, and I appreciate that.
And what do you want to add to that?
I mean, I'm a great dude. No, just kidding up for it. No, that's really pretty much how it is. Because like I said, it all goes back to the point where it's 5 of us on my dad's side. I'm on the side my mom had. So my dad was spread thin on what he'd do. He paid child support, and I would always hear him say, I paid child support.
So earlier you said your father was not in your life, so he was around?
Oh, my dad had been, he's been around all my life. You know what I'm saying? We have a really great relationship now, but I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But as a kid, now my mama was a firecracker. So a lot of this was her too.
Right,
so,
I don't know if you remember me from Dane Payne. I remember your mom.
Yeah,
I remember your grandma.
Yeah, I remember you.
So I remember your mom.
Yeah, you were a chubby girl back then, but that's a long time.
Nah, baby, I was fat. Okay, let's call it 2010.
But, talk though, like, so my mom, so
I know a lot of this. Ain't no game.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. My mom, my mom had a lot to do with it too. So, but luckily, I didn't have that problem with her.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I didn't have to deal with that. So I was able to, you know what I'm saying, develop a relationship with mine and keep that relationship. That's what I wanted.
Because I lost my dad in 2009, so I felt like it was important for him to have a relationship with his father, because like that's unmatched. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can kind of feel that void, but if you got your daddy here, and I know you can attest to that, right. I wanted him to have a relationship with him.
So did both of you build relationships with your fathers as adults, even though you knew them as children?
Yeah.
Okay. Do your children have relationships with your fathers?
Mine do.
Prior to your father passing away, did they have a relationship with yours, and yours is still alive, correct?
Yeah, mine is still alive. But I mean, if I answer for her, I mean, they knew him, but they were young. You got to imagine when he passed away, they were young. In 2009, Taylor was only 9 years old, so they were young. So as far as, and he lived in Chicago.
Okay.
So the relationship part, they knew who he was, but as far as a real good relationship because it was,
And he was able to meet them like before he was killed. So
I only met him one time.
Okay.
So,
And they have a relationship with your father?
oh yeah, they love
yeah,
that man.
yeah, my daddy crazy. Yeah,
They love that man.
like they do.
And so now, okay, so let me ask you this. One of the questions that I asked you, what are some frequent questions that you get? And the first one, which I'm sure everybody want to know, would you all consider getting back together?
So,
Why not?
this is my friend.
Yeah, I think we're in a different space now. Like he said, we're friends. Like he's my best friend.
Mhm.
But
we came to a point where it was just it. Like I said, I say it again. My ex is beautiful, and I know it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So I can see what other people see. When they look at her, I can see that. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. But as far as I don't look at her like that, I look at her as my friend, as my partner, as my teammate, not as somebody I just want to jump on. You know what I'm saying?
All the time, does it bother you?
When people ask us that, no,
it don't bother me.
I think a lot of times the people who do ask us that question are people who are having a struggle themselves.
Yeah.
Like the last time I was asked this question was a couple of months ago from a guy who I know both him and his ex, and I kind of see how their relationship is, and I feel like he really wants the relationship that we have with his ex, but she's just a different person. You see what I'm
Because it's
saying?
very taboo, especially, and we just gonna keep it as real as possible on this show. But it's taboo, especially with Black people. Not saying that it does not happen, because it does, and you are examples of that, but it's not often.
Right.
Should be, especially, it's healthy for your children. It's healthy for y'all, because had it been different, your life, would not have been as good, because I'm sure it helps to have that foundation that you all have. You can sleep good at night knowing they with him and you ain't got to worry. And you get your mama time. You could sleep good at night knowing they with her. You could trust her, and you getting your alone daddy time. You know what I'm saying? That's good, but it's taboo. People do not understand this. Which is
they think that if we in a good space together, we must be doing something, or we back together. And I'm like, we just cool. Like this the homie. Like in real life, this the homie.
I mean, we get together, we trip out, we have fun, we talk about people, just basic family stuff. You know what I'm saying?
We still family at the end of the day. That's still my family, regardless.
Right.
She has something that nobody else can ever give me.
His children.
My children. And one thing I was not going to have is kids all over the world. I did not want that in my life. So my 3 kids are by her, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it's been. And it's funny when people do ask us about, our relationship and, well, how y'all do such and such. We just do it.
We just made a commitment to each other for our children. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful. I tell them all the time, like, you the best baby daddy I got. You the only one, but whatever. That's irrelevant at this point.
Let me speak on that real quick. Now we say that now past couple of years we say baby mama, baby dad. We didn't say that at first.
Right.
Because I always saw baby mama, baby dad as a negative kind of I thought it was negative. Yeah. That was my opinion, not saying it is. But I felt like she's always been more than my baby mama. She's my kid's mom, she's my ex-wife. She's never just been a baby mama. You know what I'm saying? So, but now we say it, but in joking. You know what I'm saying? That's my baby mama, such. But that ain't it. We just be joking when we do.
Yeah. We just want it to be a positive thing instead of a negative thing. So that's why, on social media, you might see me say something about my baby daddy, and people be like, "Wait a minute, wait, what?"
Yeah, because even people who know us be like, "Oh, okay," but because this is how we are.
And so, y'all, I'm a big advocate for. This is just me personally. I don't feel like women should tell men how to be men, and I don't feel like men should tell women how to be women. Shauna, what would you say to a woman? And Ray, what would you say to a man? And of course, y'all can't go at the same time. How would you advise a person in your situation in a bad way, what would be your advice to them to be good co-parents with their other?
You want me to speak first? The first thing you have to do is take yourself out of it, because the children are the focus at this point. Don't get so wrapped up in what the other parent is doing personally, because that has nothing to do with the children. As far as them being a parent. Now, if he's seeing somebody, that's a totally different conversation. But just take yourself out of it and do what's best for your kid. I could never teach my son how to be men. That's why I'm grateful that he is who he is. Like even now, if I have a problem with them as far as like what I call man stuff, I'll call him. Like if my son got an issue with a girl, I don't want to call your dad because he got it. I don't know. And I know it's the same thing with him. He can't handle like women stuff with Michaela, so that's why I come in. Mm-hmm. We kind of play our role, and then just play your role. Be open and communicate, because that's the biggest thing. You gotta communicate. Otherwise, it'll never work.
Right. Yeah, just to piggyback off her speaking to men, it's all about time. It's all about the time that you put in. That's what kids remember. Mm-hmm. It's the time. It's the time that you spend with them, the time you talk to them. It's just that time. I don't care how much money you give them. They're not gonna remember that. You know what I'm saying? You can buy them 6 PlayStations. It's just gonna be 6 PlayStations sitting there. But they probably not gonna remember that in 5 years. But they will remember that football game you was at. They will remember that play you were at. They will remember when they was able to look up in the stands or at whatever and see you. They remember that. They remember y'all going to such and such. Kayla tell you right now, me and her, we used to have dates. And they'll tell you, it's a running joke. Whenever I have one of them, we always do something. Just that one. They come home, what you and Daddy did? I know y'all did. That was it. Me and Kayla, our thing was going to Chick-fil-A and getting milkshakes. That was our thing. That was our date. If I was with Junior, we'll do something else. They know if I had one of them by themselves, we was gonna do something. Yeah. So it's just that time spent. And that's what I would tell men is focus on that, on spending time with your kids, not, try to build a relationship with your kids' mom in order for you to spend time. Don't make it all about money. If she needs something, do it. You know what I'm saying? Just do it if you can do it. Don't kill yourself. But if you can do it, do it. You know what I'm saying? That's just it. Make sure that time is spent so the kids remember that.
Because when they look back, they're going to, like he said, they're going to remember that. Because I be in them stands every game. He be in them stands if he ain't in the stand, he on the field. Mm-hmm. So we're a team. You know what I'm saying? We always together when it comes to like the events that they do. Because we want them to see a united front. Right. No matter what we might have been arguing that earlier that day, but when they look up, they're gonna see us together. Mm-hmm.
We might be like this here, but you know what I'm saying? But,
right.
Look, but
right.
It is what it is. Like we don't agree on everything.
Right. Definitely.
It's some stuff that you know what I'm saying that I don't. I mean now it's okay, but there's some stuff in the past that I didn't agree. But it was not my place. But of course, I didn't agree, and I would get in my feelings about it. But at the same time, it wasn't for me. It's for her. So once we got past that part, we good.
Mm-hmm. We good, so.
And so my final question. Well, I might have one more question. I think my last question is: do y'all have any regrets about anything? Even though you can't do anything about it. I think the purpose of me asking you this is for the listeners. So if they're in that moment right then, because y'all made a great point. Had you done it at a certain time, it might could have fixed it, because there is a such thing as it's just too late. If you had done it before, then maybe your outcome would have been different. So do you all have any regrets that you can pinpoint or talk about that if a person is in that moment right now that they can possibly fix it?
I regret not trying hard enough. Stop. No, please. I I regret not trying hard enough. Again, we were young. Had we met a little bit later, it may have been, or had we had some more experience in life, we may have been able to work things out. Again, her mom was divorced, my mom was divorced, my grandma was divorced. So what we knew was that you can go on about your life. You can separate and still live your life. We knew that can happen.
Right.
But we didn't know what it would take to work it out. To you know what I'm saying, to fight through that. And you know what I'm saying, to move on. Again, had we done that, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I see people now that's been married 25 years, and I look at it, that would have been us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Had we knew what to do.
Right.
It's no handbook.
We didn't have the tools to fix what was wrong. And honestly, I believe it was fixable. We didn't have the mental capacity to do it at that time.
I do have another question, but no, go ahead with what you're about to say.
I would have communicated earlier and better. I think that's what I regret most.
Mm-hmm. Have you all ever thought about doing something again collectively like a business? Because I think you all would be good. And I'm just speaking from a personal standpoint. And y'all, well, Shauna, know, I feel like the Lord got to tell you to move on something if it's the right thing for you to do. Okay, so if the Lord don't tell you to do it, don't do it, y'all. But I think y'all would be so dope as like I ain't gonna say no counselors, but people need to see healthy relationships between two people who are married, have children, still get along. I don't really know what you would call that or what your mission would be, but I think that would be so cool. And you just saying you guys sit here and talk to me and the viewers. I think this would be such a good thing because I don't know how far this will go. Do you know what I mean? But I think this is important for the world to see. You two getting along. Hell, your kids grown now because y'all could be like, oh, I'm finna go. Bye. Holler at you, Ray. Holler at you, Sean. They'll won't see you again. But that's not the case here. Y'all are friends. This is healthy. This is how it should be, you know, for people who are divorced that have children or whatever, because y'all gonna have grandkids one day. You still need to be able to get along. You shouldn't just throw each other away. Have y'all ever thought about doing something like that?
We actually talked about like having a I ain't gonna say like counseling sessions, but like doing events and bringing people in, maybe like being a mediator or something, a podcast or something, just to talk about our journey, because it's a lot more of what, like, we just brushed over things. I want to get into the meat of it because it's a lot we didn't talk about. So we talking about doing that now. I actually brought that to him maybe a couple of months ago.
And you can actually put that on the end of this if you want to. That you know, if there's somebody to reach out, like we
open to talk.
Because it's some stuff that you know that we can really go into. You know what I'm saying? That
I had my first counseling session today, counseling his son and his girlfriend on FaceTime. So
you know, you just really never know what marriage you could save, what relationship you could save, you know, just somebody about to jump off the ledge here, because being married is not always easy.
Right.
You know, you may need to hear from a man's point of view, a man, from a woman's point of view, a woman, not telling you, well, you know, you can get divorced and still be okay. No, this is what you should do to save your marriage and, you know, save your relationship. So yeah, I think that would be dope.
There's no handbook. There's no handbook on marriage. There's no handbook on relationship. Everything is trial and error. So, and it's a lot of trial. It's a lot of error, but what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do? You know what I'm saying? We all got to put up with a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because that little crazy is what attracts you to them. You know what I'm saying? So, and once you start getting upset with them, that little crazy is going to be, you see what I'm saying? You got to be able to step that little crazy. And if you can deal with that little crazy and kind of get that back to where it needs to be, I think it's a lot of people that can go a long way.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So Shauna, tell us how we can find you and tell us a little bit about face photography.
Face photography has been in business for 10 years. It'll be 10 years in January. I'm proud of that. I am on I am on Facebook, Deshauna Monet. I am on Instagram, face_forever100. Just follow me and book a session because I love what I do.
What all do you do? Or just give us Give us a little snippet because that was gonna be broad spectrum.
Oh, Jesus. Filmmaker, content creator, photographer. I manage a derm clinic. I'm a little good at that. I manage a whole office, so I guess I'm good. They think I'm good at it. Okay, y'all gonna pay me to tell people what to do? Okay, good. I feel like I am a media mogul. That's what I call myself. He actually helped me on a video a couple weeks ago for the football team. It turned out really good. So I try to include him and stuff, make him feel important.
Him no more.
Sometimes.
You ain't call him no more. So Ray, do you do anything other than accounting? Do you have a business or a side hustle? Do you coach? Tell us just a smidge more and how they can find you and to reach out to you guys, in case there are some couples who want to talk to you.
Well, I'm Ray Hampton Senior on Facebook. Hamp 66 on everything else. You can find me on that. I'm very approachable as far as that. I am accountant. I do taxes, but I don't like to, so I try not to do that. I kind of just do family now. I done got away from it. Financial planning, stuff like that. I kind of get that in, but
he is a money numbers man.
Football is what I love. You know what I'm saying? And mentoring men through football is what I do. So that's me.
Okay. And you said mentoring men through football. Is there an agency that you work with, or is this just?
It's not. I got three biological kids and probably about 300 kids that you know what I'm saying, that still I got kids that play on Sundays that still call me coach. You know what I'm saying? That still will call me about different stuff. Make way more money than me. But you know what I'm saying? It's a relationship that was built when they were, 13, 14 years old, that, keep them where I need them to be. I can call anybody right now and they're gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that relationship and just, let them know, what I'm saying, what life could be like outside of football. You know what I'm saying? And they still there.
Okay. Well, Hamptons, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and being your authentic selves. I appreciate you sharing your stories with us today. And so you giving your information, you said that people can contact you. Is there any type of last words you want to leave the show with today? Y'all should come up with like a Hampton catchphrase, like tag team back again. Check it correct. Shit, we got Hamptons in it. Y'all need to come on. Look, Shauna, that's Miss Media Mogul. That's what you need to come up with today.
Okay, I'm on it. I have one.
Period. And you need to put it in a hashtag and send it to me so I can put it,
Yes, I'm gonna do that today.
But for real, you guys have any last words for us today?
I appreciate you having us on. Like, we don't really tell our story. Like I told you before, people just see, that we're together and what we do, but they don't really know the backstory of how we got here. So I appreciate you for letting us have a counseling session, because a lot of this stuff I'm just finding out today, which I appreciate you, because a lot of stuff, like I said, I didn't know about it till today, which is it makes me feel good to know that, where he came from, and I'm sure he appreciate, my input. So thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure to do. Well, you guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you
for tuning in to the Black Label Podcast. I done changed the name.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Black Label Podcast. Please make sure to tune in next week for our new episode. You can find us also on Facebook at the Black Label Podcast with Stacey Yvonne. We will also be on Instagram as the Black Label Podcast. If you would like to have a segment on our show, please contact me, Stacey Kimber. You can either reach me at number 205-332-2868 or email info@kwusdiagnostics.com.